welcome to another episode of the Silicon Dreams 1550 AM. I'm Sharlaine from Orbis 86, your host for today. And we have with us Founders Office and previous conversation designer at WorkHack, Arpit Chhikara. So, Arpit, can you please introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit about what you do?
I think you have already done an introduction. So I joined WorkHack last year in September. So I started as a conversation designer. So that year we were doing conversation bots of different use cases. So my goal was to take a user from point A to B in a conversational bot setting. So that's what I used to do. And like quite recently, 2 months back, I transitioned into founders of the store, which is partly something which I used to do before. That is also included here, and it's a little more focused on marketing and UI UX product related changes because we also transitioned from conversation bots to now making AI powered forms because we realize we are very good in data collection of different types. So yeah, that's a little brief about me and my workplace.
Awesome. So I like the fact that you work in AI. Now, that being said, it's very specific to, I want to go back to your role as a conversation designer. And, could you share a specific project where your prompt, writing significantly improved user engagement or streamlined the process? And, how did this experience shape your current work in AI engineering?
So the thing with prompt is that many people they will go to ChatGPT or they will go to GPT-3. When we started that time, 3 was there, then 4 came, then in between 3.5. So what they thought is that, I put something on this whatever screen and I will type something and it will give me something.
Mhm.
That is actually not the main utility. The utility is what you are expecting and is it even useful to somebody? So you can think of it as, if you have a sense of product and what you're trying to get from it, only then the prompt writing actually works. And
Okay.
there's a lot of catch into how to write a prompt. So sometimes you have to give instructions such as quote unquote work hard to give me the result that I am expecting because the stakes are very high. And this is my top priority task. So you have to give all of these kind of instructions, and then prompt will give you a different result. And similarly, you have to sometimes use things like uh, for instance, I will tell you in one situation what we did. Like we have done a lot of this quote unquote work hard because things depend. One time we did. If you think that something is missing from my instructions, do give me a feedback on that and I will add it. So it gave feedback also. So that
Okay.
is also an interesting thing, like using it to understand whatever instructions we have given, and then making sure that it knows, like it is telling us what it expects us to tell, and yeah, it wants to know. So yeah, whatever all these things. But yeah, the interesting situation was like we were making a bot for height. So the goal there was that let's say somebody has put in a piece of clothing, so it could be shoe or something, etc., etc., t-shirt, jacket, whatever.
Yeah.
Now they had put that thing in the cart, and the goal was to focus on abandoned cart. So somebody put in the cart, but they forgot. So now for 3, 4, 5 days, they're not checking out from there. So our
Mhm.
goal was to remind them on WhatsApp that yeah, this is like whatever item is there, and why don't you purchase it? And to also understand like what is the obstacle, whether they came there because it was a discount season, whether they came there because it was an additional thing which was getting free delivery, something like everybody has their own reasons, or they accidentally put it and then they never checked out. So we
Mhm.
were trying to go into the pain points of people,
Mhm.
but eventually we realized it doesn't matter because nobody's actually opening. So our opening rate was less. I don't remember the exact numbers, but
Yeah.
we thought of a technique. Like
Mhm.
I came up with it, and once we started using it, the opening rates doubled. So the technique was to make a hyperbolic joke, hyperbole they call it. Like
Mhm.
in English, it becomes hyperbole, yeah, but whatever. So it was a hyperbolic joke. So for example, let's say you have put in black formal shoes in your cart and you're not checking out. So what the joke would come as is these black formal shoes made of this material are
Mhm.
not meant to be put in cart. They are meant to be worn and show your finesse over styling on the Saturday party, which is
Right.
upcoming. And this message is supposedly going on Wednesday, Thursday. So you're
Mhm.
trying to connect formal shoes with Saturday party. And then
Okay.
we're asking, do you really want to miss out on them?
Mhm.
And the opening rates improve because people realize that this is a very personalized message. You know about my product, which I have put in, and more like most likely we also knew the use case of that product. So what kind of situation you would be wearing a white linen shirt, what kind of situation you would be wearing a black hoodie, which is casual type.
Yeah.
So using their own item to give a personalized message, that actually worked and doubled the opening rate. So that was one of the things. So you can say that prompt was a driver because for every person, the variable used to be the item that they had put. So
Mm-hmm.
for every variable, a new kind of generation is happening. But if you look behind, like one step back, the idea of personalization is very human centric. So
Mm-hmm.
using like something which happens in daily life of humans, like knowing the context of something, and we are using prompt for that. So prompt is basically just a tool to solve a problem, but it
Yeah.
cannot in itself give you something. So if you expect to, brainstorm, it can only guide you as much as you are aware of what you are expecting it to do.
Right. And now talking about, managing, I'm just going to go a little bit into the UI UX issues because you're into that as well.
Yeah.
So, can you
Mhm.
can you kind of highlight a recent challenge that you faced, and how resolving it kind of positively impacted the user experience on your platform, and if there are any concrete examples or metrics to kind of illustrate the improvement.
Yeah, there are lots of examples and metrics, but I will give you one of the like major ones which we were having in our forms AI form building platform. So it was not keyboard compatible. So for example, we realized that when somebody has wants to delete a question, they have
Okay.
deleted, but they realized, oh, some part of the question was still valid. So they were trying to do Command Z. I said, oh, Command Z is not yet working. So then we realized, oh, we need like undo button. It's a very crucial thing, undo, and then pressing enter. So
Yeah.
enter was not there. So you had to click from your mouse. So the goal was to reduce as many clicks as possible, and once you're in, you are in, and like the goal is to make you build a form as fast as possible. So we reduced this keyboard friction. That was one good insight that we had. And yeah, there's one interesting metric that we have which you get once your form is submitted and people are actually using it. So we do B2B thing, so we give it to a customer and they have their own users. So let's say you want to analyze which particular data point is, people are getting most stuck at.
Yeah.
So there's a metric which we have, which is hesitation time. So this
Okay.
is the one where people are hesitating the most,
Mm-hmm.
which is pre-answering. And there is one more in which people are like it's called interaction time, in which
Okay.
this is the like data point with which people are interacting the most. So maybe people are typing something and they delete it, or maybe it's something which is not very clearly stated. So they
Right.
put something and which is invalid, and then the form will iterate the question, make it more personalized, do a follow up, and then it will come. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, one data point, if it's having too much of hesitation time, it should have less of interaction time, or like whatever you want to juggle with. So it depends on the customer. Like if they
Okay.
want something deeper, they might want something. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I mean that is interesting, and like balancing customer demo calls now, with ensuring UI UX smoothness is, I mean, it's nothing small, right? It's a huge deal. So, can you kind of share a
Yeah.
recent, success story where these efforts resulted in like a positive outcome and kind of leading to increased user adoption or satisfaction?
So like we generally use the principle of intuitiveness. So let's say we are on a demo call, we are showing it to a potential customer or an existing one, like giving them a feature update or something.
Mm-hmm.
So what we want to check is how intuitive is this? Like, is their cursor going in the direction we expect them to move, or is it not moving there? So that will give us an insight because we keep working on it, so we know what thing is where. So it's not hard for us to navigate through the form and make a form very fast. But the goal, the challenge is, are they also clicking in the same place? Are they also looking? So, for example, if the publish button, so what we did, publish button was somewhere here. Like, I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing that, but yeah, it was on the bottom left.
Okay.
And on the other hand, there
Mm-hmm.
was another button which was on bottom right, which is to copy the code of your form. So
Okay.
basically the URL, and then you can spread it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to copy it on one side and the button is on other side. So then it
Okay.
was creating a lot of confusion. Like why not
Mm-hmm.
have it there itself? So yeah, we swapped the positions and now we have an optimal position. So the publish button is actually on top right corner. So
Okay.
now it's more intuitive. Like people will intuitively go there, and then
Mm-hmm.
if they want to copy the code, they will copy the code separately. But if you click publish, it will just take you to another page where you can copy the link and etc. So
Okay.
these kind of like small optimizations even help out in demo calls. So that's what we learned when we go on a customer call. We call it discovery call. So we'll make a form, we will show them an existing form and see how intuitive is it.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's called a discovery call. Is that what it is?
Discovery call because we also discover what is exactly their pain point. So let's say somebody, so for example, in case of marketing itself, we take, so we make our forms mostly for marketers to experiment out.
Yeah.
Now in marketing, people have, like, generally this is a perception that you have demographics and psychographics, all these things.
Mm.
We cater to 30 to 40-year-old women who are interested in jewelry of a certain kind and they belong to a particular location like metro cities across India. Now,
Mm.
this is a very detailed, very neat and clean breakdown of your customer base, your user base.
Yeah.
On the other hand, like there is a parallel thought which is job to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So, like job to be done means what kind of result these people want, what kind of action do they want based on a problem. So, let's say for these people, if you take this demographic, 30 to 40-year-old women who are interested in jewelry of a certain kind, silver and gold, and they live in metro cities. So, the thing that they want to do with this jewelry is to have a luxurious sense of fashion in which they don't have to go to a physical store to buy it. So they can just hop on, whatever your website, your app. They can
Yeah.
check out the designs and they can get a free delivery within one day. And there is, return exchange policy. So this is the goal that they're trying to accomplish. They don't want to go to the physical jewelry store and
Mm-hmm.
they don't want to get stuck into that choice. So they want personalized things. So let's say you collect some basic data, like what is
Yeah.
your sense of style? You want something luxurious. What kind of color will suit you? What kind of dress you want to go it with. So once you have basic data, you can give them custom jewelry. Now, if this is job to be done, why cannot it be customized for 20 to 30-year-old women also?
Mm-hmm.
And why cannot it go into like some other age group? So basically, looking at a job like people who don't want to go to a jewelry store. That's it. It doesn't matter whether they are what is their age, where do they live. If they don't want to go to a jewelry store, they are coming to your app, they are coming to your platform.
Right.
So like that's one of the principles we figured out. Yeah. So instead of focusing on demographic, psychographic, focus on job to be done and collect relevant data and move in that direction rather than getting stuck into narrower customer base.
Got it.
Something that makes so like this kind of discovery we do. Like what exactly is that you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Like let's just get rid of what kind of ideal customer and all we have. First, let's focus on the pain point that you have and who is having this pain point. What type of person will have instead of like 5 bullet point breakdown of that person. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like too nerdy, but that makes sense once you get a
Yeah.
grasp of
No,
what to
it
be
is.
done.
Yeah, so I mean, demo calls are definitely a crucial touch point, right? I mean, they are like one of the most important part of the process. Now kind of reflecting back on your time again as a conversation designer, I'm just going to deviate a little bit. So could you share, kind of like an instance where a conversation AI feature you worked on had a tangible impact or, on user satisfaction or like a task completion thing?
Mm, a task completion thing. So I will give you a non-intuitive answer. So what we used to think is that we have conversational AI, we have good bandwidth, and our AI can do friendly talk and get to empathize with users. So we used to do a lot of deep talk. So for
Mm-hmm.
instance, there was one thing that we were doing at that point, which was it was basically a fitness-related bot. So it used to answer your fitness-related queries. So what kind of food should I be eating? What kind of sleep? Tell me all these things. Is this diet better, etc., etc. So what we realized is that these people are asking questions and we are also answering them questions. It's not an issue. But the goal of the customer for whom we had made the bot was to get conversions. So people would sign up and take the consulting services, paid services. So bot was free. Bot will give you basic guidance. It will give you a diet plan also, custom diet plan based on your height, weight, body type, activity levels, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we realized it's not getting to conversion. So then we thought like conversation is not the only medium to get to conversion. Conversation is a medium to interact and find out their pain point and where they're stuck and what kind of issues they are facing. Now,
Mm-hmm.
once you realize the issue, it is important to give them call to action. So we started giving call to action button in between the chat itself. We used to give in the end normally. We
Mm-hmm.
started to give it in the starting, top 1/4 uh, part of an ideal conversation. So let's say ideal conversation will be one turn, one turn. So we call it one turn. So user and bot, this becomes one turn. So let's say 10 turns are like that. So do 1/4 of 10. So like second and third. So between second and third turn itself, you will get a call to action to book a consultation call with the gym trainer. So
Okay.
that used to be the call to action. So if you are interested in taking a call, you will click it and you will book and you will come back to the bot and ask the queries. But
Mm-hmm.
if we are not giving you that, you're simply talking, and by the time we come to the call to action, your primary goal of getting information from the bot is done. So now you will vanish. So we
Right.
realize that conversations make people open up,
Mm-hmm.
but to solve, customers' actual problem, like
Yeah.
get me conversions, get me sign up, get me leads,
Mm-hmm.
that requires a different thought process, which is more of, product and marketing related ideas. So yeah,
Right.
that was an interesting thing, like getting out of the conversation interface and thinking beyond that and inserting CTS in between.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the more you talk
Yeah.
about AI, the more human-like it seems. And I think we've been training them to, kind of be this way. On that note, I have this very interesting question because I just recently watched the movie Her, where, this guy falls
Yeah.
in love with an AI system, the computer operating system called Samantha. So, what are your thoughts on AI just kind of, becoming so human like that, people actually have real life real relationships, and, what about them having feelings, and, what do you think about the future of AI in general?
I everybody has their opinion and all, but I can only say things which I have personally done, and I come from a non-tech background, so I look at it in case of, what is the utility of. So this is a tool which can make you do things faster and help you out in some minor tasks which you can, automate and like do some brainstorming also at
Yeah.
times if you're clear in your thoughts. So that's the utility of AI, but different people are experimenting in different domains, so they would have more ideas. So for example, I met someone in WeWork last week. So what
Okay.
they're making is, you must have seen on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went to WeWork just for a visit to meet a
Okay.
friend, and then I met him also during that visit. So
Mm-hmm.
what was so you must have seen on Amazon is that, you have a table or you have some kind of a physical product. You'll project it into your room using your camera, and then it will show you how will it look like when the table is put inside your room. So it's basically using your camera and projecting the table there. So you can physically see in that whatever system Amazon has created.
Yeah.
It has a technical name, but I'm forgetting the name. But yeah, basically it's like projection of an image into a physical space and then checking out how will it look like. So
Mm-hmm.
before purchasing a sofa, you can like use the camera, give it access, and it will project the sofa inside your living room, and then you can see, oh, how much space is it taking? Where will my other things go? So
Yeah.
using the same principle of, physical products and all, that guy was making which involves something, e-commerce related scenario in
Mm-hmm.
which you will use your front camera,
Yeah.
take a photo of yourself, like top, and then you will put up a shirt. So that
Huh.
shirt will, come and you can see how much good fitting it has. And then you can do the same thing with shoe. For shoe, actually, a lot of brands are there, like US brands. There's one which is called, I think, Vivo Barefoot or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. They have the system. So you have to take a sheet of paper, you have to put your foot on it, and then you have to click a photo, and the AI will detect your size accordingly. That's it. You just have to take a sheet of white sheet, A4 size sheet, put your foot on it, and you detect the size.
Yeah. I think a lot
So
of
like
glass
these are, yeah,
eyewear companies, sorry, a lot of eyewear companies also have this where you put your face and try
yeah,
different glasses, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So when these kind of interesting things are happening, I get pretty excited. But
Mm-hmm.
the future of AI is uh, like it's going in the direction of solving our problems. Actually, that's all I can say right now, because different people are trying different things. So this is physical projection of a like a cloth or some kind of a physical product.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and some people are actually experimenting with physical things also. You must have seen, small robots are there which are carrying coffee for you, and
Yeah.
there are like robo vacuum cleaners are there, so they're also working. Then there are, yeah, like other automation tools are there. So there's one company, I forgot the name.
Mm-hmm.
We actually had in our office also for 1 week trial period. So
Okay.
it's a self-cooking thing. So
Okay.
basically, what you have to do is you have to open its lid,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to put like whatever normal tadka related things, three, four
Okay.
items, then it will happen automatically. Then it will ask you, and it will give you instructions also. So it's a video related thing. So it will keep telling you, okay, this tadka is going to happen in 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I will ask you to put your vegetable number one. So then you
Mm-hmm.
put your vegetable number one. After 10 minutes, it will tell you now put your whatever vegetable number three and some spices and all.
Yeah.
And with like three-step breakdown. First is tadka, vegetable number one, vegetable number two, how much gravy you want, put as much water. It is guiding you and making your food in like 20-30 minutes automatically. You just have to put stuff into it. That's it.
That's so cool.
So
I mean,
the
yeah.
future is, very bright, but nobody can say because everybody is in their own domain. So somebody is into physical products, somebody's like projection, somebody's into image generation, text generation, video editing, video generation.
Yeah.
So unless you speak to, specific people who are working in their domain, you will
Mm-hmm.
not have a clear idea, because then it will be like vague talks. Yeah, you can do this. But once you get into like specific people in their respective, then you will have an idea of like what all capabilities those people are specifically exploring in image generation,
That's
or
true.
let's say like whatever robo making.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. And I
Yeah.
think for our audience, I think conversational AI is, going back to, that because that's something interesting. We haven't really heard a lot about that, especially here. It's something that I just came to know of from you. So that being said, I'm gonna kind of end this with one last question as to, what developments do you foresee in terms of, user personalization and adaptability? And, can you kind of provide a use case that illustrates how AI might tailor conversations to individual users in 2024 and the future?
So, like personalization is a lot of, there's a lot of hype about personalization, and you must have seen messages which come into your bot through like companies, Myntra and wherever you put things in your cart. So they will use your name.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first step. But after a point, it looks very fake also. Like each of these they just know their name. They just know my name, and they're doubling down on my name. It is just like stupidest thing possible. And
Mm-hmm.
people have become irritated. The first bot which might have done it, they must have done a very good job, like
Mm-hmm.
using the name of a person. But this is the max of personalization, level of personalization that we can think of.
Yeah.
But we have gone beyond that in our forms that we make. So what we will do is, so for instance, I have input on that you are a front-end developer. You are
Mm-hmm.
living in Bangalore for 5 years now, and your family of four is living somewhere in, let's say, Delhi,
Yeah.
and you earn 20 lakh per annum. So now with these four data points I have collected, okay, through
Mm-hmm.
our form. So these were data points that you are collecting, we're giving a question, you're answering. Now the fifth question we have, that question is of do you plan to buy a house in 2024? Let's say this is the question. So this
Mm-hmm.
is a base question. But now that I have your data points, I will personalize the whole question for your context by saying something like, as someone whose family is living in Delhi
Mm-hmm.
and you have been in Bangalore for 5 years and earning a decent income, do you plan on purchasing a house and inviting your family here in 2024? Now,
Right.
this is a good example of personalization. I'm going beyond your name and going into the life situation. So basically, I'm making an inference. Like
Mm-hmm.
if people earn a certain income and they're in a certain city for a long time, and they
Yeah.
might have planned to live there for a more longer duration.
Mm-hmm.
So using that inference, I'm asking you a question. I'm not just plainly inserting, data points, forcing them. So like whatever things we feel are justified to use in a particular question of a type, we use it, and other data points we use it in other questions. So like this is how we are doing personalization. And second thing which you were asking is that how, like I forgot what was second thing. One thing was personalization, second was like
Yeah,
usability.
and then how it might tailor conversations to individuals in 2024 and post that.
So yeah, that's what I think. Like personalization with multiple data points and going just beyond, naming that data point and using the inference. So if you
Right.
say that I am a photographer and I do contract work. So
Mm-hmm.
in that sense, I know that you are a little artistic person and you also don't fit into the traditional model of working. So
Right.
when I'm asking you the question of let's say my question is what kind of vehicle do you own? So I will say that as a creative person who doesn't follow the traditional routes of workplace,
Yeah.
do you also have such a non-traditional outlook towards vehicles?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is an exaggerated type, but yeah, something
Okay.
like that will come up. So once I
Mm-hmm.
know your data points, from that I'm understanding your behavior, and from your behavior, I'm trying to frame my upcoming question. And this actually works in terms of usability of personalization.
Mm-hmm.
The benefit of personalization happens when you're asking a like a big ask, as I like to say. So there is small ask like what is your name? This is a very small ask. Everybody will
Yeah.
tell you their name. But if
Mm-hmm.
you ask somebody, when were you last in a relationship? Are you married? Or if you
Mm-hmm.
ask someone, what is your income and how much debt do you have? What is your credit card score? All of these things are a little private, so people
Got
are
it.
hesitant to share it. So the
Yeah.
more data points you collect before these quote unquote big asks, then you can use that personalization to reach to the big ask. So I think personalization has a lot of good role in collecting data, which people like to privately hold among themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I see happening in 2024, like good, rich quality data coming through personalization, in which like people who want to use AI, they can use AI or they can use their own like whatever custom models they can also build.
Awesome. I mean, I can't wait to see what AI really does. I mean, what you guys actually do that, AI eventually will in the future. So, that being said, I think we come to an end of this episode, and I think it's kind of given us a comprehensive journey through, the evolution of AI. I mean, its profound impact on user experiences, to be very precise. But yeah, that being said, thank you so much for, being on the show and sharing your thoughts and expertise. We really enjoyed that. I did. And yeah, thank you for
Yes,
joining us
yes.
on the Silicon Dreams.